welcome to our Lullaby Project interest session. My name is Sarah Lamb, and I'm the Community Engagement Manager at the Cleveland Orchestra. And I'm joined by some of my colleagues on this call as well. Joan Katz-Napoli is our Senior Director of the department. And then my colleague Courtney Gazda is our Manager of Learning Programs. So you'll see Courtney a little bit later, but I'd also like to introduce Elena Dennis, who's one of our close partners with the Lullaby Project. She is our music therapist and is wonderful. Again, you'll hear from her a bit later too. So just a bit of housekeeping. I wanted to give a shout out and thank you to University Circle, Inc. David Robinson is here on the call. If you just wanted to say a few words, he graciously let us use and borrow his Zoom account for today.
Yeah, sure. So University Circle Incorporated obviously is known for our outdoor programming during the summer and winter months, advocating or activating Wade Oval and the ice skating rink during the holiday season. And so in lieu of all of the changes with COVID-19 and the restrictions on gatherings, we've pivoted quite a bit to digital content and launched Circle Connects midway through the summer. And the Cleveland Orchestra, as a partner-led program, the Lullaby Project has been kind of packaged into that just region-wide promotion. So we've been happy to continue to work with Sarah and the crew. And I'm really looking forward to today. I'm a percussionist by trade. And so I love any chance I get to work with the orchestra.
Thanks again, David. So I'd like to first start by giving an overview of what today's session is all about. We'll go over what is the Lullaby Project, what are its origins, and why is it here in Cleveland, and why is the orchestra involved. So we'll cover all of those things. And then you'll get to hear from some of our community partner organizations, and then how to be involved in their organizations. That's something that we believe is core to the Lullaby Project, is not just providing music making opportunities, but really to be connected with amazing social service organizations here in Cleveland. And then you'll get to hear from our music therapist, Elena Dennis, walking through some of the benefits and bondings that take place in the Lullaby Project. And then closing off the session with a hands-on music making activity, or something to take back to then do with families or in your home, or to share with your communities. And that'll be led by Courtney. So that's the kind of the flow of this session. Like I said, please ask any questions or add comments in the box, and I'll be looking at that throughout. So what is the Lullaby Project? Lullaby Project is actually a partner program of the Carnegie Hall organization in New York City. They have partners all across the United States as well as internationally that take the Lullaby Project and then adapt it to what works in their community. So the heart of Lullaby is creating a song with a pregnant or new mom, and fathers are included as well. And those songs express their hopes and dreams for their child, whether they're expecting their child and what they're hoping for, or they already have their kid on their lap and they get to really talk about their kid's personality, if they have nicknames, those types of things. So we get to include that and create a really meaningful song for our families and with the families. One of the beautiful things about the Lullaby Project, and is what we found in this past year of our first year, is that you don't need any kind of musical ability to participate. Everyone has a voice, and that specific voice is the one that's so unique and so special to your child. And so what the orchestra and our staff do is help guide that music making process, but at the heart of it and the foundation of it is truly speaking your message and sharing your message that you hope for your child, or in the instance, if you're a partner of ours, your community's child, or your community's children. So the Lullaby Project, we're entering our second year of doing it here in Cleveland. A little bit of background is in our first year, we really wanted to engage with one of our existing partners, Lexington Bell Community Center in the Hush neighborhood. Miss Perry is here from Lexington Bell as the case manager there, and we worked with their Moms First program this past year with some of their moms one-on-one. Most of them were postnatal, so they had their babies, and we were able to write 6 songs with moms throughout the year. Unfortunately, our year was cut short because of COVID-19 pandemic, but we're excited to continue on and sustain this partnership and work with more moms and maybe even revisit with some of the moms that participated this past year to really see how we can better help them and maybe write a second set of lyrics to a song or a new song with them. So that was where we were in year 1. And now as entering year 2, we are continuing with Lexington Bell Community Center as one of our core partners. And then I'm pleased to have Marie Jones on the call from the Maple Heights neighborhood and city. There are several really amazing organizations like Lexington Bell in their community as well. And so we're excited to expand to this new group of moms reaching another community, which is closely tied to our Neighborhood Partners program, which is just where we work intensively with some of our neighborhoods in Cleveland to have that long-term sustainable program. So,
and Sarah, I did want to say I did leave a message for Veranda, and she said that she would be joining us. But I left a message. And for the Moms and Babies First staff, they are actually doing a food distribution at this time. I just spoke with the program manager there. So someone is going to try to get on a little bit later, but they're actually actively distributing food. So
that's so important. We're so glad for that. We don't want any hungry bellies this day or any day. Thanks for that, Marie. So we know that Lullaby is across the United States and in the world, but why bring it here in Cleveland? What about Cleveland really speaks to this project? So because we've had intensive partnerships with the Huff neighborhood and specifically with Lexington Bell, we knew that the Cuyahoga County actually suffers from one of the highest infant mortality rates in the state of Ohio, which is an awful number and an awful statistic. There are incredible organizations, and many of them throughout the city, that are working to eliminate this as a statistic and as a reality. One of those is First Year Cleveland, and I'll drop in the chat one of their website. They do have a lot of resources and the statistics behind that if you're interested in learning more about it. But while we know this is the reality, we wanted to help address that because it's a very real issue. And so while music plays a part in decreasing this rate, we know we couldn't solve this problem on our own just with music. And so the strength and the role and solution that we can play is by partnering with organizations, especially organizations, social service organizations that do address the heart of this problem and are providing resources and really valuable relationships to our communities, especially our pregnant moms and new moms that really need that extra support at any level. And so without further ado, I'd love to introduce Ms. Perry from Lexington Bell. I wanted to give our partners an opportunity to speak for themselves and to share what they would like about their organization. The purpose of this session, I will restate, is that we wanted to give a platform for our partners to share about their organizations and how to be involved with them, because the Lullaby Project, we do work exclusively with our partners and the moms that are part of those programs. And so if you're interested in participating in the Lullaby Project, we really would love for you to be connected with these organizations. So without further ado, Ms. Perry, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Moms First is a home visiting program that pretty much offers services to pregnant moms. We try to target them at least 33 weeks of pregnancy, and we stay with the mom up until child is 18 months. We also have a portion of the program that targets dad as well. So we try to keep mom and dad together as a teamship so we can kind of keep everyone within a household and support this dynamic relationship that we all would want. The Lullaby Project has been an integral part in our supportive services that we offer to our program participants. I must say, Ms. Courtney, Sarah, and the rest of the team has been phenomenal. We have pretty much partnered with the Lullaby Project since the launch. as Miss Sarah indicated last year, and we look forward to the continued partnership. Our participants, they say that the program allows therapeutic sensations for them. It provides an outlet that many participants does not have the opportunity to otherwise receive in any other platform. So I'm just excited because when the pandemic occurred, it's like, oh my goodness, home visiting is over. You know, what are we going to do? The Lullaby Project. And we all are stepping up to quality and producing the services that's needed to continue our supportive services. So I'm really excited about this virtual platform, and our participants are too. So I'm hoping that, you know, we have some individuals that can speak for to the quality that this project really has to offer. And I'm just truly thankful on behalf of Lexington Bell for this Lullaby Project. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Ms. Perry. If someone were interested in being a part of the Moms First program, can you tell us how that would happen or who they would need to be in touch with?
Absolutely. So we have a website, www.momsfirst.org. You can actually go online. We have an intake online that will pretty much get you connected to the proper agency, which will service the participant or whoever you need to refer. So we have different Mom First agencies, and we all are designed to network within particular communities. So if you go online and pretty much complete that intake, then the intake coordinator can actually get you connected to the proper agency. Hopefully it'll be Lexington Bell, and then we can get you set up with services immediately. You can also contact me personally. Absolutely, and I can reach out to intake myself, and we can get you, you know, processed accordingly, get that client the services they need. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Well, we're so blessed to have you as one of our close partners, especially because Lexington Bell is just literally down the street from Severance Hall, whereas, as you see, I'm no longer in the office, and most of us aren't at the moment, but we're still very close by, and so we're happy to continue these partnerships. So thank you for all of that. And so I would then like to introduce Miss Marie Jones, one of our new partners, and then if you would like to speak, and if you want to turn on your video, feel free, otherwise no worries.
Sure. Let's see if I can do the video so you can actually see my living room. Hey. Well, actually, I'm excited also to be connected with the Lullaby Project, and we have gotten connected because actually it was Mayor Blackwell of Maple Heights who saw some information in one of the magazines that she reads, and she connected us. So I am not actually on staff or living in Maple Heights. I work for an organization called Neighborhood Leadership Institute. And Neighborhood Leadership Institute is probably one of the very few organizations that I know of that trains grassroots leaders in the community to engage the community to make every neighborhood a little healthier. And so I'm the Director of Community Health Initiatives at Neighborhood Leadership Institute. And as part of our work to reduce infant death in Cuyahoga County, we are working with the Ohio Equity Institute. There are layers of things here, but the Ohio Equity Institute, that's also one of the action teams of First Year Cleveland. And we do something called One Community. And 44137, or the Maple Heights community, is the second community that we are working on the One Community initiative, where we engage community stakeholders to have a say in how that community addresses helping their babies be healthy and well. And as part of that, we are connected with Pregnant with Possibilities, which is Veranda Rogers and her crew, and they actually have office space there in Maple Heights. And They do a variety of supportive services from mommy and baby yoga to helping people actually visualize and birth their vision for their career goal, and also providing diaper distribution. So they do a variety of things to support parenting families to have the resources and support and information and connection, and also to birth possibilities. So it's a wonderful organization. They are going to partner with the Lullaby Project and also the Moms and Babies First, Ohio's Black Infant Vitality Program that actually works out of Northeast Ohio Neighborhood Health Services. They too will partner with the Lullaby Project because they're part of that one community umbrella in Maple Heights. And the Moms and Babies First project is actually a home visiting project that was actually fashioned after Moms First, which Moms First is our longest standing home visiting program that actually focuses on improving birth outcomes. And so we got those dynamics. And Neighborhood Leadership Institute actually has neighborhood navigators who act as a conduit or connector to pregnant women across Cuyahoga County to support and services and to home visiting programs. So we've got layers of complexities going on in order to serve families. If there is a pregnant woman that wants to be connected to services, we do have a hotline, a number for them to call at Neighborhood Leadership Institute. I can share that with you if you'd like. And also, if we have a Facebook presence in response to trying to reach pregnant women during this COVID pandemic, and you can follow us on NLI Healthy Communities. That's NLI Healthy Communities. So we are working on doing the work of connecting families to support so that they can have healthier babies.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. And that's really the whole goal of all of this, is to have more healthy babies in our community to make Cleveland the strongest it can be and the healthiest and happiest that it can be. And that goes for all the babies as well as all the moms and the families and all the caretakers for those babies too. So we're really, really glad to have our partners on board and to get started soon. So I'll give a little bit of background on how a lullaby session looks, just in brief, and then I'm going to hand it off to Elena to walk us through some of the other early childhood information that she's an expert on, in my opinion. But with the lullaby sessions, so last year we would work one-on-one with the moms. So in the room we would have a mom and their child if they were there, maybe a dad too, and our music therapist, and then one of our Cleveland Orchestra musicians. And so as a team, they would all work together to write a lullaby. And that's broken down into a very, very digestible process and very approachable, and is very fun to go through. So within an hour, we would be getting to know the mom and their child, and about their family life and about what they want us to know about their lives. And then we'd be writing lyrics together and then the music to that. And so by the end of the hour, we would have a song that's so personal to them that they wrote and with us together. And so that was the model for this past year. We would do this in person because obviously being in person is amazing because you can feel the energies in the room and be a part of that. But we are transferring to a digital platform now to make sure all of the safety and health of our moms and families are kept, and that is one of our utmost priorities. And so thankfully we have Zoom and many platforms to help us do just that. So we are transitioning to having a digital platform where it will closely resemble our in-person sessions. in terms of working through a workbook and getting to know the moms. But it will be a little bit different. We'll start with more group time, so several moms together sharing and getting to know each other to create more of that community vibe and community support. And then we'll break off into kind of breakout rooms. And then with those breakout rooms, that's when the songwriting will take place with musicians and our therapists and the moms themselves. And then we'll come back together and do a group sharing session. So that would take place over the course of about a half a day, which is a different model than we've done last year, but I'm really hopeful that that will be a successful model, especially in this digital realm, to help us form a more, the feeling of having the community nearby as we would in person. So that's just a little bit about the structure of what a lullaby session looks like when we're talking about that. But I do want to hand it off now to Elena, who's our wonderful music therapist, and I like to call her our early childhood development extraordinaire. So please introduce yourself, Elena.
Sarah, you're too kind. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. I appreciate your time as well today. And it's just so encouraging to hear so many people who have the same heartbeat to strengthen and encourage families and a desire to see babies and families that are healthy and strong. So yeah, my name is Elena. I am a music therapist, board certified, and also a child life specialist, if you know what that is. And my graduate training was in child development. And so music therapists work in lots of different areas of healthcare in many different ways. And so this is a particular area for me that I'm very passionate about. I'll just mention I'm also the director for an organization called Safe Families for Children in Cleveland. And was very excited to hear that there was an opportunity for me to practice music therapy a little bit more again. And so I do want to say that I think when you hear the word therapist, we all assume, oh, why is a therapist needed? Does that mean, so we assume something is wrong? And really what music therapists are training is mostly having to do with using music for purposes other than entertainment and enjoyment, though I would say that this still encapsulates enjoyment. Those are wonderful purposes of music, which all of us enjoy, but we are, as therapists, looking how can we use music for some sort of other aspect of health, maybe, in a very holistic, preventative sort of way. This is a great fit in terms of how can we use the medium of music to promote healthy families, and more specifically parent-child bond, mother-child bond. So I'm going to address some of those things. I'm looking through, we recently made a video version to share kind of as an orientation, and I don't want to feel like it's too much of me just giving a lecture here. So I'm going to start with this. Maybe we'll have a little interaction because I know we're going to do that later. But let me introduce this. If you will just think for a minute about when you hear the word lullaby, what comes to your mind, and perhaps just share briefly, if you're willing, why that lullaby is special to you, how it was a part of your life, who it reminds you of. Wonderful. And you'll see in the chat, Sarah shared that. We will share that video next week. Lovely. So who will be brave and tell us what lullaby comes to mind?
I can volunteer.
Go for it.
So it's certainly not accredited to my grandmother, but my grandmother always sang "You Are My Sunshine" to all of her grandkids as a kid, and those lyrics just, I will always, my grandmother passed away many years ago, but I will always think of her whenever I think of that.
Wonderful. That's very powerful. Thank you, David. Anybody else?
In my family, we had a set of lullabies that were accompanied during bedtime. So it would be in a very specific order. And if one of them were left off, it wasn't complete. So some of those were I See the Moon and May the Road Rise to Meet You, the Irish Blessing Song. And those always have a really special place in my heart, especially because my mom and my dad both had specific songs and lullabies that they would sing. So I knew which ones were on my dad's repertoire versus my mom's.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Sarah. So we recognize that these songs are not all the same, or even the same type of song. Brahms Lullaby, yes, absolutely. Anybody else? Joan?
Our son had some kind of toy that you wound up, and it played Brahms Lullaby, and it showed pictures on the ceiling, really beautiful little, animals and things. So every night, that's what he went to sleep to. So it was a really nice memory for us to hear that and know that he was safe in his bed. And it was a great signal for him that it was time to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. And then when he was older and I was able to recognize it in other settings, it made him feel warm and fuzzy to have that memory. And we also sang You Are My Sunshine, but we had, we made up new words for it, but every morning.
That's lovely. Thank you, Joan. So what we're also hearing is that we have people that are connected with these memories, right? Relationship. And we know lullabies have been used for centuries. They're in different ways in different cultures to comfort babies and also support critical bonding. I'm going to talk a little bit more about, especially as partner organizations, the idea of bonding or an attachment relationship, how important that is, and how music uniquely can support that. So we talk about it a lot because it is important, and that bond or attachment is like that parent-child back and forth dance. So a child gives out a cue, such as a cry, to signal that I need something. And the parent or caregiver responds in that back and forth dance. And what we know in the world of child development is what builds a relationship of trust and increased attachment is an increasing ability for the caregiver or parent to respond to the cue given by the child or infant consistently and accurately. And so sometimes that's challenging. How many of us are parents on the call? You remember when they were really little and you learn to differentiate cries and you learn to differentiate different perhaps cues that a child is giving, but sometimes that can be challenging and we may think that we are meeting the need presented because we believe that the child is saying that they're hungry, and they weren't actually hungry, they actually needed a diaper change, and then we figure that out, right? That being said, music is a very cool, if I can say that word, way to learn to attune in a relationship. So to be attuned, which is a beautiful word to use musically as well, to one another and that back and forth. We can do that really well with music. And so how does that connect? The process of creating this song, the process of creating a song that flows from a parent's heart, their core, their very being, is going to, just in that session, help us to be able to address ways in which you can continue to do this as a parent or caregiver outside of the time that you're in the lullaby session. It helps us to talk about, look how beautifully you were able to respond and include perhaps some of what your child or your baby presented while we were creating this song. That being said, we don't always have the children present in this session, but very, very much welcome them. That's correct, even on Zoom, right, Sarah? Okay. All right. And what we do know that about attachment relationships, they are the foundation of a healthy social emotional development for children, which is a foundation for all other aspects of development. That healthy attachment relationship is very important for the health of the parent or caregiver. I think I wrote somewhere in here, maybe I forgot to say that singing, we know, is a stress relieving endeavor, right? The ways that, in not even just singing, but engaging in music actually, music making and engagement requires both sides of our brain, and they come together uniquely with the different elements of music that we're processing and engaging in. So it's a very healthy and stress relieving activity or thing to do. What else? So just addressing too, if you're presenting this as an idea to potential parents, that I know many of you are sharing often that the transition to motherhood or parenthood is a big adjustment. And I would argue in my life, the biggest adjustment that I ever experienced. We have 3 children. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And particularly for women, for mothers, there are hormonal changes. We know that 1 in 5 women experience some form of perinatal mood disorder. Now, like I said before, in the Lullaby Project, we are not assuming that a perinatal mood disorder needs to be treated, but we are assuming that most women will be experiencing a great amount of transition in their lives. And we also know that especially infancy, there are a lot of demands that can cause stress, including the hormonal change, but lack of sleep, and then all the other social things to consider with the amount of support mothers receive, as well as other things, traumatic births, and just ongoing challenges. Perhaps if a child had some health challenges at birth or continues to have health challenges. And this is not just mothers, fathers as well. Supporting that is a difficult transition. Even if it goes pretty smoothly, it's a big transition for the family. And so why do I share that? Music and really art forms, all the art forms, are wonderful ways to express those experiences that we have had, to express things that are within us that sometimes are really challenging to express with words. Like if you ever hear like the phrase, I know I say it a lot, I just don't know what to say. I don't really have words for this. I would like to just go play the piano for a while to express how I'm feeling about it. And so this is a unique opportunity in a different way, different than expressing through words, though words are a part of music and singing, of course, that this is another way to express that journey and the highs and the lows of that journey of pregnancy and then the postpartum period. And so our goal in the Lullaby Project, and Sarah has already introduced this, is to create a lullaby that is your own as a parent and caregiver. speak about your child, speak about your relationship. And this is for everyone. It is not just for those who feel like they have some sort of musical talent. And I know Sarah already said this, and I just think it's so important that we stress that it's very common to hear, well, I don't play anything. I'm not really a singer. I don't think that's probably like a great fit for me. Is there something else? Maybe it's not. It certainly doesn't need to be for everyone. But it's also important to just encourage and give comfort around, this isn't just for people who consider themselves musicians in any sense. It's for anyone. And there are people there that want to hear what's inside of you and help you to express that then. And so I would say my job as a music therapist in the room is really helping to draw out that story, support a quick relationship of trust to tell pieces of that story, and then help to start laying a foundation for that becoming a musical process. And then it's so awesome, in my opinion, and I'm sure most everyone's, that there are then professional musicians there to say, let's fill this out. It's going to sound like a beautiful, full arrangement of this song that you have made. And we really honor and want to honor the mom, the dad, the parents, the caregivers that are creating the lullaby. Does this sound like you wanted it to sound? And even if it didn't, after we thought we got a first draft, we'd want to go back to it and go through an editing process. And so do people already need to know, like, do I need to have songs or not songs, I'm sorry, words in my mind when I get there? No, but there's also a journal that was created by the Lullaby Project that we use, and it can be given prior to, we'll still be able to do that, right, Sarah? Prior to a Zoom session. Okay, so it'll help you be able to kind of think through some of the elements. I think Sarah drew out, like, it asks, like, what are nicknames that you have? What are your favorite things to do? How do you describe your child's personality? What sticks out to you about your pregnancy, and things like that. And so we use that both in the session. It doesn't have to be completed beforehand, but yeah, in the session and prior to, we can pick up from what participants have written in that journal and come up with something that sounds, we want it to sound like what you wanted as a parent or caregiver, and what you would be able to functionally see yourself loving to enjoy with your child. And so it is about creating a beautiful piece of art, but it is also just as much, or maybe more, about creating something functional that is promoting the health, that attachment relationship, and health for the mom or the dad or the family. Yeah. So does that all make sense? Any questions? Lots of talking.
Thanks, Elena.
Yes.
It's so great to have everything that we do, especially with the music, be based in why it's beneficial, like physically, emotionally, spiritually, for the kids and for the families as a unit. I really like that you said our lullabies are supposed to be functional, and they really are. But this isn't supposed to be a song written in a vacuum and then put on a shelf. We want it to be really useful and special for the families to use. Some of the moms last year actually came to us with their own music and ideas already in their heads and in their minds, and they were able to just sing it into the room. It was very vulnerable and courageous for them to do that. And then from there, we were able to mold it and shape it together to further develop their ideas. And so something that was very special is that each lullaby, it doesn't have to be what's considered a traditional lullaby, soft and soothing. We really asked, how do you want this to go? Do you want it to be slow or fast? And then that kind of brings the tree of personality to the song. So if it's a fast song, is it bouncy, or is it an R&B kind of feel? Or with a slow song, is it soothing or slow and melodic? So we have a lot of different ways that we can take it. And some of them may be used at bedtime or to soothe a child at another moment in their day. Other times it could be to just express joy and happiness, or even to express kind of like the cleanup song, clean up, some kind of actual practical element to a day that they need a little bit of musical structure around. So it's very flexible in that regard, which makes every session unique and delightful.
We definitely heard a lot of very different genres of lullabies last year. Yes.
Great. So Elena, I think you're going to help us with make some music on our own.
Yeah, so we'll do a few songs. I borrowed my son's guitar since it's not as loud, and I apologize that I forgot I told him to practice in between, and it's a little bit out of tune. So just give me 1 second.
So the idea will be for that, Elena will lead us in song, and even though we're all muted right now, we can sing in our own spaces, in our own rooms, so it feels like the community, like we are a community singing with one voice. We'll be hearing Elena's one voice as we sing, but this will be one of the activities that we'll do to kind of warm up our groups when we do start the lullaby sessions, because everyone has a lullaby in their mind, or they know campfire songs, or just some normal traditional children's songs. So that gets us everybody a little bit warmed up. So this is what we're sharing now.
All right, we need a little happy on this dreary Cleveland day. All right, so I think you know this song, and we'll start a little up tempo, and then I think I got some requests earlier. You know this one. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray. If you're happy and you know it, your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, shout hooray. All right, and we even have a little sweetie here with us.
Sometimes she does it.
Awesome. All right, how about this one? We all know this one. The beginning of school. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? All right. Now, how about this one? You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Hopefully some of us had some fond memories. Let's end with this one that we all know. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above a world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Lovely. So funny to see all your mouths moving just a little bit later. Thank
Thank you for leading us with that, Elena. I think sometimes I forget that even as an adult without a child or any immediate family in the vicinity, that singing can bring you that same joy, whether you have a kid around you or not. So it's nice to take a moment to just express yourself. So thank you for sharing all that you did, and that you continue to share with our Lullaby project and our sessions. We're really appreciative of, and I know the moms and families are also appreciative. So thank you. So I do want to introduce, before our last activity, I do want to introduce Veranda Rogers from Pregnant with Possibilities. She's here to join us. So if Veranda, would you mind sharing a bit about yourself and the organization you work with, that you lead, I'm sorry, and how moms or families or parents can be involved or can be in touch with Pregnant with Possibilities? Feel free to turn on your camera or not, it's up to you.
So I am not going to turn on my camera, unfortunately, as I am not in a space to do that right now, but I will share with you guys. So Pregnant with Possibilities, we are a nonprofit organization. We're located in Maple Heights. We're dedicated to 3 pillars. The first one is teen pregnancy prevention. We also have a program for mothers. So we service mothers who are pregnant or have a child under the age of 1. And we also are dedicated to our women's empowerment initiative. So our overall goal is to help pregnant women have positive birth outcomes, educate youth on sexual health initiatives, and make sure that women who are from underserved populations thrive in birth possibilities. So with the Lullaby Project, we actually have a program called MOM, which stands for Making Opportunities Matter. And this is a 13-week research-based curriculum that we meet with women, as I said, who are either pregnant or have a child under the age of 1. And we go through, because of our new normal, we meet virtually. And so we have a curriculum that we meet with them on. We are in the process of putting together a pilot fetal literacy program in coordination with Metro Health. And the fetal literacy brings about the lullabies as a part of that. And so that's where it could be a connection with the Lullaby Project to allow the moms to create their own personal lullaby that they'll use and sing to their baby. And so that's about the organization and kind of how we envision the connection. A little bit about myself. I am the founder and executive director of the organization. We've been around since 2014, incorporated since 2015, started as a community-based organization, grew. I actually got pregnant at 16, and so I wanted to come back and be an inspiration to the community, especially when I saw that life stopped for a lot of people, especially family members. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college, went back and got my master's, and middle of my master's program, I realized that I had a heart to serve and I wanted to create an organization, which has led me to where I am today. So thank you for allowing me to have this opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Veranda. We're really looking forward to our partnership with you this year as one of our new partner organizations, and really commend you for all that you're doing with Pregnant with Possibilities. There's so many incredible services you're offering and connections to moms that really are benefiting. We know they are. So thank you for being one of our partners, and we're excited to work with a new community. So thank you for sharing. And if one other way, if somebody wants to be involved with Pregnant with Possibilities, how might they be in touch?
So you can find us at pregnantwithpossibilities.com. I will actually put my contact information in the chat also if anyone is interested.
Wonderful, thank you. Because again, I'll share that we really value the partnership in the Lullaby Project, not just as a standalone program, but one that's really embedded in the community and in community organizations. So if you are interested in participating, please reach out to Moms First and Pregnant with Possibilities. And I think Moms and Babies First is another Maple Heights organization that we'll be working with. They weren't able to join because, as Marie shared earlier, they are busy distributing food right now, and that's very important. So thank you. Please check the chat for some of that information. And after this session, we're not quite done yet, but after the session, we'll reach out to everyone who's here, as well as those who expressed interest on our interest form, and share all of this information, as well as the links on how to participate. And we can continue being in touch with them. So without further ado, to close out our session, I'm going to welcome Courtney Gazda, my colleague. She's our manager of learning programs at the Cleveland Orchestra. And then she'll lead us in an activity. And please, again, if you have any questions, ask those in the chat or after the activity, please unmute yourselves and share.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you. Today, we are going to talk about an activity that you can share with your own families, with families that work with your organizations. But this is going to be something that is fun, and the best part is that you don't need any materials. You just use whatever materials you can find at home. And so what we're going to start with, we're going to make our very own music shaker today. And so what I did was I have an example to show you of something that a music shaker could be. Now, this is called a maraca. You might have seen something that looks like this before. Now, a smaller version of this, something that's really tiny, that we often see babies holding, is a rattle. And what do we do if not everyone's going to have a maraca or a rattle on hand. So we're going to talk about how we can make our own just using materials that we can find around our own homes. So the first thing that we will do is find something that we could put our objects in. So I had pre-made one to show you, and this is just an empty jar that I found. I think that I at some point had some kind of sauce or something in here, and so I found a glass jar, just rinsed it out. It has a lid, and I was looking to see what do I have that I could shake around and make a fun sound with. So I found some of these dried beans that I had, and they make kind of a fun sound. And if you put the lid on it, you can really make a fun sound there. Another thing that I found was just a standard plastic cup that was just lying around. And I found some paper clips that were sitting just at my desk. So I repurposed them and gave them a new home so that I could make another type of sound. Now, if it's nice weather out, or even if it's a little bit rainy or whatever, something that I encourage families to do is if you can go outside, that's the best thing, because you can go and look and see what's in nature. So I've done before where I've gone and picked out fun rocks and stones and even sticks sometimes, and just finding different types of cups and containers that you can put those in also makes it a fun nature activity too, and something that you can do outdoors together. Now, once you have your objects, whatever you put inside of your jar, from there, you could just make music just merely by shaking it, because that of course makes a fun sound, almost like a rattle. But the other thing that you can do is take your homemade shaker and put it to some of those fun children's songs that we were singing earlier. So for example, if we were singing the letter song, we can sing with our shaker, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And that's just an added layer, another piece of music that you can add on top of a song that you might already be familiar with. And with your families and with the moms that we work with, you know, choosing a song that is meaningful for them is really great. So, you know, maybe the song that they love is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Maybe it's Rain, Rain, Go Away, which I say because it's raining today. But whatever it is, choosing a song that, you know, brings you joy or brings you comfort, and then adding just this extra layer to it makes those extra fun sounds. Now, with children that might be maybe a little older, another way that you could sort of do an extension of this activity is the touch and the feel of the objects that you're actually putting into your cup or your jar or whatever it is that you're making your shakers with. So using your senses. So what do you see when you're looking at these objects? You know, what colors can we identify? And then also the physical touch, and then looking at how, okay, I can see the objects, I can see what colors they are, and as I shake it, what is happening? How are we making that sound? So that's sort of a fun way that we can extend that activity. Now, another great thing that I love to do with kids and with families is just turning any part of your day, any part of your routine into a song. Now, as it was echoed throughout this session from Alina and from Sarah, you know, a lot of folks might say, well, I'm not a musician, I'm not a good singer, I don't know how to do that. And so the best way is to just start with anything. So for example, starting a morning routine. So instead of, all right, it's time to wake up, good morning, we could turn that into our own song. So good morning, or, you know, as Sarah mentioned earlier, the cleanup song, which I also love because again, it incorporates music. So clean up, everybody clean up. So incorporating just kind of a fun, your own little spin on something that you're already probably doing throughout the day, waking up, getting going in the morning, having breakfast even, and just trying to sing those things instead of saying them. And that's already a way that you can incorporate music every single day. So these fun shakers are super easy, and I encourage you to find all kinds of different fun things. Like I said, I've done it with the stones and the pebbles that I found outside. And even if you don't have a jar or a container, even something like a paper towel roll or something like that, anything that you could physically put something inside can make all kinds of fun sounds.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Those are really helpful ways to integrate music into your life without participating in the lullaby sessions, but even a welcome added element to lullabies, especially shaking along to the rhythm of the songs. Yeah.
A personal note, I was just thinking as you all were talking, one of the only ways I could get my son is now 13, but when he was a toddler, the only way I could get him into the house, because we would do our evening routine of walking, especially in the summer and spring, the only way I could get him into the house was to sing goodnight. You know, I would make up words. We would say goodnight. He had this affinity to earthworms. I don't know why, but he loved earthworms, and we would sing goodnight to the earthworms. And then we would sing goodnight to the grass and goodnight to the clouds and goodnight. And we would say, see you tomorrow. And so, and, you know, as we were talking too, my oldest sister, who I call my mama sister because she was so much older than me, I don't remember what song she would sing, but I remember laying in her arms, and I remember just watching her mouth, and I guess I probably would be fast asleep shortly, but I just remember that time of her singing to me and holding me, and I remember the warmth of that. So, you know, I thought, wow, you know, Marie, you sing stuff. And even now to my teenagers, I have to sometimes sing them awake because especially my son, he does not wake up very easily. So it's a process. And so I literally sing him awake sometimes. So I had not thought about that being a lullaby or a message or it was just me trying to figure out how to take the next step or do the next thing. So this is beautiful.
Thanks for sharing that, Marie. Yeah, it's interesting to reflect on where you do find music in your life, because so often it's in the commercials that we watch on TV or in the background of our TV shows or on the radio. It's some of those predictable ways, but then how we just integrate it and it just comes naturally to us as humans, especially because we all have voices and we want to express ourselves. Like Elena said, sometimes words don't cut it and we have to use the music behind them, but sometimes they come out with music and words. So thank you for sharing that. So that brings us to the end of what we had planned to share. If anyone has any questions to us at the orchestra or to Elena or to our program partners, Miss Perry or Miss Rogers, please unmute yourself and share, or if you just have comments in general, I would love to hear them.
I do have a question. So we received the guide that will help lead families through the process of thinking about what language, what description, what colors, all of that. I think that it's such kind of a rich way, a rich process to engage families to get them to think about their little one. Will that actually be, and will that be what we will share with the families by way of electronic process, or are there actually little booklets that the community health workers that are working with those particular families can actually share, so that they actually have something tactile to write information in? How will that work?
Absolutely. Yes, that will be given to all of our participants and those who are interested in participating too. Receiving a workbook doesn't guarantee you or can make you stuck in needing to do it if you really don't want to. But with the worksheets, we can share digitally, but because we're now in a digital realm,
Yeah.
but we do also have many printed copies, then we can always make more copies to share if that's the best way to send them.
I think that would be great. And I know that with the Moms and Babies First program, I had talked with the one of the case managers, and what we had talked about is actually the community health worker that's working with that particular family, encouraging that family by way of sharing that actual book with them and getting them to think about and to connect. And I think that would be a real good tool to help engage the families.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, we can share that basically with anyone who's interested. So even if you aren't a member of one of the organizations that we partner with, please reach out to me or through our website, and we can send you a copy of that to do on your own. But with those who are a part of our partner organizations, certainly the workbook alone, it can walk you through how to do it and gives you the instructions of what to think about before you do a session, and some instructions on, here's the space to write a letter to your child. And so then that often becomes the foundation, and that's the part of the workbook that may be done before coming to a session. Everything else we do kind of work out in the session together, but that's certainly something we would be sending in advance, and especially to engage maybe parents or moms that are on the fence for, oh, I don't know what this is about. It's a very clear and easy and beautifully graphically beautiful workbook that we can share. And it's a wonderful keepsake too if they do have a hard copy of it. Any other questions, comments? Well, I thank you all so much for your time today. This was really wonderful to be with you and to see some faces that I haven't seen in many months, which it's nice, even if it is virtual, just to feel connected and to know that we get to move forward together with this Lullaby project, and that more music, despite being apart, will continue to be created, and it will continue to be meaningful in the home, because that's where most of us are right now. So thanks so much. And we hope to see you again in the future at one of our sessions, or just in general. I'll put my contact information in the chat if you want to be in contact with me directly to ask a question or to be connected with somebody else if you missed that. So thank you again for everybody for coming, and we'll see you all soon.